smelling like a come up in the answer for her problems, but I'm not him, I don't mind it though. You don't like me how you think you do, I like it though. I know I'm fine, but the money makes me handsomer. Walk around smelling like a come up in the answer for her problems, but I'm not him, I don't mind it though. You don't like me how you think you do, I like it though. Look, I know I'm fine. I won't lie. I know.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N podcast. I'm your host, Dropping Dimes, aka the Hopeful Romantic, aka the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. Y'all got a good show for you tonight, man. As always, if you can't join me here, definitely catch me on Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, wherever you get your fix of podcasts. All right, and you can listen. So check it out. Tonight's episode, we're going to talk sensitive, not soft. Sensitive, not soft. What does that mean? When it comes to men, there's always a very blurred definition when it comes to the difference between somebody who is soft and somebody who's sensitive. And I find that people will call somebody who's sensitive soft and somebody who's soft sensitive, and they interchange those words on a regular basis. Well, I'm here to try to give you a clear definition of what each of those mean and the difference. Why it's important to understand the difference, especially in a relationship. When you're in a relationship with someone, for this conversation, I'm going to say your relationship with a woman. What does she want from you? A lot of times you hear she wants sensitive. She doesn't want soft. Now, just to be clear, soft has nothing to do with sexuality, has nothing to do with any of that. This is a completely different conversation. To clear it up, sensitive. Better yet, let me start with soft. Soft is when you cave under pressure. When the people around you are not your priority and you only worry about yourself and you sulk and you limit yourself and you don't try hard enough because of what's happening within yourself. Sensitive is when your actions keep those around you in mind. They prioritize the feelings of your family and how your actions will affect your family. You see the difference? Soft is selfish. It's about how everything is affecting me and how I feel about a situation. Sensitive is how do my actions and how do these actions affect my family and the people around me, the people that I love. In a good relationship, she wants sensitive. She wants to know that as a leader in the family, that you're aware of how your actions and how the things that you do inside, outside, how you represent yourself, how you respond in crisis, all these things are a priority because your family's a priority. And therefore, she'll look at you and say, you know what, my husband or my man is sensitive. You know what I mean? He's in tune to what's going on around him and the feelings of others. If you're soft, you don't care about anybody else's feelings but your own. And you care that you're sad and how it affects you and what you're going through. And that, to be honest with you, serves very little purpose in the context of a healthy relationship. As men, we're supposed to think outside of ourselves. We love this way. Right? We love this way. We love outward. We see how it affects our kids, our family, our wife, our girlfriend, our boyfriend, however you want to, however you want to put it. How we affect them. That's sensitive. A lot of us, we put this brave face when we walk out into the world, and with these tough guys, or with these guys that, we don't, we're macho and all that stuff. I'm here to tell you that that face that you give the world really serves no purpose once you walk inside your house. Once you walk inside your house, it's very important to understand that she needs the real you. Your persona, your muscles, all that stuff means nothing to her. The only one that's important is your heart and how much you love your family. One of the things I like to do is I like to clear up masculinity. So masculinity is a funny word, right? Because people are associated with being macho, strong, tough, alpha, tip of the spear, all this stuff. I don't apply any of those to my definition of masculine. To me, the most masculine thing a man can do is whatever benefits his family the most. Whatever gets his family, his tribe ahead is what I consider the absolute most masculine thing a man can do. Therefore, sexuality doesn't play a role in masculinity to me. You can be gay and you have a family, and I will look at you and say, and watch you, and the way you work, the way you push, the way you save money, the way you make sure that your kids are going to get an education, that they're safe, that they have a place to live, that they have food, that they're loved, that they're cared for, the way they dress, the way they look, everything is clean and perfect. That, to me, your sexual preference doesn't make a play there. That is the most masculine thing you can do. If you're in a household where you and your wife or you and your lady have made a decision where, okay, I'm going to take the back seat. I'm going to stay home with the kids. I'm going to be the guy who takes them to soccer and basketball and all these events. And I'm going to be the one that sacrifices that. And I'm going to clean the house and I'm going to cook. And you decided that one-on-one with your lady. You are a man to me. You're masculine. Your masculinity is as strong as ever. Why? Because you're doing absolutely what is necessary, putting your ego to the side to do what is absolutely necessary for the growth and betterment of your family or your tribe. That is the most masculine. I don't care if you can knock a guy out. I don't care if you're the toughest guy in the room. I don't care if you make the most money. Let me look at your tribe. Let me look at the people around you. Let me look at your family. Do they adore you? Right? Do you treat them well? Are you taking care of them? Are you taking care of the responsibilities that a man takes care of? Handling your business. Then and only then can I label you masculine, that masculinity, saying that, you're the man, you're that guy. Not how many women you slept with, right? Not being the coolest guy at the bar, not having the table at the club, not driving that special car. No. I need to look at your people and say, oh, okay, you're a leader. You're pushing them forward. You're growing them. That, to me, is the most masculine thing you can do. When I see a dad that drives a minivan, that's, working a job that he hates, but he's working every single day, and he's coming home, and he's feeding the kids, and he's taking them, and he's moving, and he's doing things that, if he had to choose, it'd probably be the last thing he'd want to do. Truth be told, it'd probably be the last thing he wants to do. He probably hates a lot of his life. But you know what? He gets up every single day, and he does it. He does it because he loves his family, because he loves his kids, because he loves his wife, his girlfriend, his boyfriend, he loves his husband, whatever it is. He loves those people so much that he's willing to put in that work. That, my friends, is the most masculine man in the room. That is who I look like, and I'm like, whoa, respect. That's crazy right there. Understanding that when you're between sensitive and soft, like I said, sensitive is understanding your role, right? The last thing a woman wants in her household is another child. She's looking for you to take a leadership position. She needs for you to understand the stress that she's under. She needs for you to understand the needs of the household. A sensitive man does that. Like I said, a sensitive man has his awareness on things like that. And he's paying attention. Yo, it's amazing to me how many women I talk to, right? That they'll work an 8-hour shift, 12-hour shift. They get to their door, the door of their house, and they have to pause and breathe because they know that they're in for another 8 hours once they walk in that door. Why is that? Why is that? It's because it all goes back to the core of the message, sensitive, not soft. It's a person that is not in tune with what's going on in his household. It's a person that's not aware of how it's draining his partner. I always tell men, take a proactive approach to your relationship, not a reactive approach. Don't wait. Don't start moving after she's told you. She wants a co-pilot. She wants a teammate. And as a man, when you're sensitive, not soft, think of your lady or your partner like a corner man. A corner man can't go out into the world and fight for you. But what they'll do is they massage your neck, they put ice on your neck, they do things to make your life comfortable so that when you go ready to go out and throw those punches and throw that fight, they put you in they try to put you in the best mind frame and the best position to do that. In a good relationship, that's the position your wife should be in. She should be your best corner man. You don't throw the punches at her. The enemy's out there. She's not your punching bag. The enemy's out there. She's your corner man. She has your back. But you have to do your role. And your role is understanding what the situation is in your household. You know, it's so crazy. Like I said, many women, they get to the door and they got to take a deep breath because they're like, shit, man, I know there's a mess in there. I know the dishes are dirty. I know these kids are running amok. I know they're not in bed yet. They walk inside, and guess what? That's exactly what it is. They're still wide awake. They're running around. The house is dirty. And they're like, shit, I don't have a partner. I have another child. And it's the worst shit ever. Sensitive, not soft. We're going to go into more about soft, but we're going to keep it sensitive. You got to understand. You know how many women I talk to, right? It's one of the examples that I got a long time ago was we went to parents' night. They went to parents' night. So they go to parents' night. And when they go to parents' night, the teacher tells them, yo, your son's failing English. He didn't hand in a paper. He didn't do this, he didn't do that. The husband looks at the wife and starts flipping out on her. What? What the hell are we doing? Da, 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 da. She's looking at him like, how is it that I know this information? I knew our son was doing bad and I was trying to help him. How did you not know? How did you not know? That's a great example of somebody who's not aware of the circumstances and situations around their own family. And that's where a lot of men fall short. They figure, I work hard, I do this, I do that, I do this. So they feel like they don't have any responsibility. Where I feel like a lot of women, unfortunately, they don't have that choice. They don't have the choice not to care or to let somebody else handle it. Which leads me to the next part. Part of being in a relationship is contributing and making decisions. Not leaving it up to she'll handle it. One of the biggest mistakes I see young guys make is when they're in a relationship with a woman and she's one of those women that works and she's a nurturer and she comes home and she handles all these different things. He looks at her and says, Oh, okay, she got it. My book is called Shallow River to Deep Ocean because we treat women like they're shallow rivers when a lot of times their emotions run deep like the ocean. And you have no idea what a light bill does to her mind compared to yours. A lot of times it baffles me because now that I'm older, maybe when I was younger, I was like that. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh no, I'm perfect or anything like that. As I've gotten older, I can tell you 100% that I now understand the anxiety that some of these things bring on people. So as a partner, one of my main priorities is to eliminate these sources of anxiety. I am very sensitive to how these actions or these things that happened around our relationship will affect my partner. Her car not starting, and I'm not trying to by any means call a woman helpless or say that they can't handle things on their own. We all know that they can. What I'm saying is that within the context of a relationship, you don't want to feel alone. You don't want to feel like you're paddling the boat by yourself. I always say a good relationship is work, not labor. Labor is when you got to do it yourself and you're paddling that boat by yourself. When two people paddle the boat moves. That's where. So we have a comment says Mimi Bella says this is where the strong woman comes from. The strong woman does come from that when she feels like she has to pick up the slack constantly and she can't trust you, and that's why those conversations about a woman surrendering to me and I need a woman to be submissive. That's why I laugh at those type of conversations. I used to engage in them. Now I laugh at them because they're low vibration conversations. Because when a woman doesn't submit to you, she's literally saying, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Because if I trusted you to lead, if I trusted you to be in a position where I could follow you blindly, there would be no question. There is no conversation about submitting. That doesn't exist. It just happens. You know who tends to submit? Men. Soft men. Soft men tend to submit within their relationship. You know why? Because they blindly close their eyes and feel like, no, she's going to get it done. She's going to lead. She'll pay that electric bill. Oh, that's going to get paid. The car, no, oh, we're going to do that. They close their eyes and they understand that, hey, yo, you know what? She can lead. Therefore, you become the submissive one and the roles get reversed. And then we start having conversations on the internet about, oh, I need a woman that does. No. First comes the prove it phase. Prove to me that, first and foremost, I'm going to be safe and secure. Prove that to me first, that my safety and my security is your priority. If and when you do that, I can trust you. And if I trust you, I will submit to you. Even the strongest, toughest, hardest, fucking life beater up woman will submit to you once you've been able to do that. Now, there's different forms of submission. Yeah, she's from Missouri. You got to show me. Yeah, you are. What do you call it? So, and that's the difference. One of the craziest things is, me and Bella wrote it, I'll figure it out. When you look at your woman and you understand that she'll figure it out, if you have those feelings towards her, you are failing as a man. You're failing. As my man May said, you're failing. You are. Because it should be the other way around. She should be able to look at you and say, he's going to figure it out. He'll figure it out. While she's also figuring it out. While she's also putting the effort, 100% in. She needs to be able to look at you and say, he's going to figure it out. There's nothing worse. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not, there's so many men, right, that when we talk, they talk about they're not getting the fantasy in the bedroom. And they're not getting that affection and that love in the bedroom. And my wife doesn't do this. My wife, there it is. Trust is one of those crazy things that you don't just earn it outside of the bedroom, you also earn it inside the bedroom. But definitely, and here's the one thing I can tell you 100%. A woman is not turned on by a man she doesn't respect. If you put yourself in a position where she doesn't respect you, of course you're not going to get the fantasy. Of course you're not going to get the good sex. You're not going to get the good time. She doesn't respect you. That's step number one. Earn that respect. Not by getting loud, not by being tough, not by trying to assert dominance. That's not how it happens. By your actions, by who you are, within this relationship, by the presence that you put down, by the fact that, you know what? When there's a disaster, when shit's caving, she doesn't feel like she has to rescue another child. She understands that, you know what? I have a man. I have a man next to me. I have a real man next to me, and I understand that I can trust him and that he's got my back and that I'm not alone in this situation. It's so important to establish that, because again, if she doesn't respect you, I'm sorry, it's not happening. It's not happening. You'll never get that fantasy from her. I want to really touch on that. I want to drive that part home. You have to have a backbone as a man as well. She cannot feel like she can walk all over you. When a woman can feel like when a woman feels like she can walk all over you, it literally is a fear that develops inside of her. She may act tough. She may be tough. But there's a fear that develops inside of her that says, shit, man, when this boat sinks, or better yet, I'll put it like this. If something were to happen to me, my family is screwed. And let me tell you something. There's no worse feeling than that. That knowing that if, something happens to me, is that something a man have to be taught, or is something that, okay, we're going to go into that. That's a great question. I'm going to talk it out loud. So somebody asked a question. Is that something a man has in him, or do they have to be taught? They have to be in him, or they have to be taught? Okay. It can be learned. And a lot of men don't have it, didn't have that growing up, so they didn't have it in them. But it can be learned. When you fall in love and your family's a priority, I'll put it to you like this, right? If I put a video game in front of somebody and they really want to play the video game, you know what they do? They learn the rules, they learn the controller, and they play it enough to the point where they dominate the game. Right? Well, guess what? Why not apply that same mentality to your family? So it's not an excuse. Oh, I didn't grow up that way. I don't know. Bro, if I put a video game in front of you, within a few minutes, you would understand what the controllers do. You would understand what levels do what the players are, who the main characters are, and how to get to the levels you want to get to. Right? And you would play it until you do. Apply the same mentality to your family. Learn the buttons that have to be pressed. Learn what's needed. Okay, what's needed? This doesn't come naturally to me. I'm not a natural guy that fixes stuff. Okay, that's it doesn't come naturally to me. But you know what? Okay, but I understand that the cabinet's broken. Maybe I can't fix it. But knowing that the cabinet's broken and dialing a phone and getting it fixed does not require you to know how to screw in that thing. Now, it'd be better if you did, save some money, but it doesn't require that. So it's not about, not knowing. It's about being willing to learn, wanting to learn, loving enough to learn. If you do that, Trust me, you will learn. That excuse about I didn't have that growing up, I don't know, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? It's not. No, that's not an excuse anymore. As you become a man, you start to understand this is required of me. This is what's going to get my family to the next level and ahead. Okay, cool. This is what I have to do. This is my house. I own this house. So when something breaks, I own this. I can't look to my wife and be like, or my girlfriend and be like, well, the roof is leaking. We'll just put a bucket there. Bro, you want your woman's cooch to dry up? Act like that. Act like what's stressing her and keeping her up at night doesn't bother you. You want to see how turned off a woman can get and how little sex you will have? I promise you, you take something that's stressing her out and dismiss it. I always tell people there's two mistakes men make. Absolutely. Do you think it's important for a man to have a man mentor? Not always just a mentor, but also other men, like-minded men. It doesn't necessarily, sometimes you don't have access to that one level up of experience or knowledge, right? But even if you don't have that, there's the ability to get around like-minded men that are in families or that their priority is their family. And you sit around and you talk about it. And you could come to a consensus and be like, oh, that happens to you too. Why does that happen to you? Oh, she gets mad at, oh shit, man. So you mean, yeah, maybe we should just fix it. Or maybe we shouldn't drink every night. Or maybe we shouldn't. So there's things that can come up that way. Don't get me wrong. If you can have a mentor, but we also got to be careful who's mentoring us. You know what I mean? Not everybody who sounds knowledgeable and talks that game about positivity and doing what's right is giving us the right information. Like I'll give you an example. At one point in my life, I was surrounded by a lot of men that were married, right? And they would tell me shit like, yeah, man, it's cool. You could, just keep a mistress every now and then because, if not, you're going to be fighting with your wife all the time. Or, hey, man, hey, going out, man, and, don't tell your wife everything. Sometimes if you want to go have a drink with the boys, you don't got to tell her. There's a lot of bad advice that I got too. You know what I mean? If you could find somebody who's solid, if you could find somebody who's been married a long time and whose wife is happy, I guess that would be the most important thing. Whose partner is happy. Because not necessarily the wife, their partner is happy. And you talk to that partner, and that partner tells you what this person does right. That's probably the best source of mentoring you can get. You know what I mean? It's almost better than talking to the husband directly. Oh, as a man, because he's going to talk with his ego. Unfortunately, that's what I'm getting at. A lot of times, the advice that we get from men, man to man, is led with ego. Right? I always say, man, people will tell you about the day at the beach, but they won't tell you about the sunburn. You know what I mean? So he'll tell you about. You ever heard a guy tell a story about sex? Yo, man, I was with this chick last night. Yo, man, I hit that shit. Yo, that shit was crazy. Yo, da da da. And then you talk to the chick, and you were like, "Yeah, we slept together. He lasted 2 minutes." People always leave out what they don't want you to know. So you got to be careful, even with your mentor, because he'll give you all the beautiful things he did and how he handled certain shit. You know what I mean? I find like almost the best advice, the best kind of like conversations that I've had when it comes to relationships are, and I see a man and a woman in a couple, and they've been together 30 years. I usually get the ego-led answer from the man because he wants to tell you how, he's in charge, he's the guy. And then I get the real answer from the woman. And she'll tell you something like, no, for the first couple of years, he was jobless and I was the one making all the money. And, but he learned over time. And she gives you the real answer. And men, we gain more from that, from understanding that, oh, shit, you haven't always been perfect. Oh, there was a time in your life where you were down and out and she held you down. And how'd you guys navigate that? How did you guys go through that? What happened? Oh, when you were good, you found happiness. When you were sad, you found wisdom. Tell me about that. What about that? How did you prevent yourself from going back down that hole? Oh, he was sensitive to what our family needed. He understood the assignment. I was telling him one time, right? I was talking to a friend of mine. They were having money problems, which is a source of a lot of anxiety in a lot of relationships. And he was like, "Oh, I work, she works, and yo, we don't have enough money, and but I'm doing my best." And da da da. And I pulled him to the side and I was like, "Listen, man. When you're stressing about money, you think about it. You think about it a lot, right?" He's like, "Yeah, man. I've been thinking about it, yo. But then I just like, I'm not gonna. If I can't control it, I'm gonna just try to let it be. I'm not gonna really stress it. I got. I'm just working my hardest." I'm like, "You see how you let it go? She doesn't let it go. It's constantly on her mind, and she's constantly thinking of ways to the solution and the next step. What could we do, and how could we do it, and da da da. Well, you can let it go. She's not letting it go. It's eating her up inside. She wants to know that you're putting the same amount of energy and thought into the things that stress her out that you put that she puts into it. She wants to know that. She wants to know that you're thinking about things on the same level that she's thinking about them and with the same level of depth. So what I told him, I was like, "Listen, this is what I need you to do, man. I need you to sit down, right, on your own. Don't wait for her to bring it up. Sit down and dedicate." It's crazy to me how most men, right? Not most men, how a lot of men will put more time in their fantasy football lineup than they will dedicate to their own relationship every week. If you could dedicate 1 hour, 2 hours to setting up your lineup and making trades and fixing stuff on your fantasy football team, I promise you, you have an hour to sit down with a pen and paper and jot down some notes on how you can improve things in your household. You're sitting there, you guys have money problems, you guys have issues, you guys have stuff going on. It takes nothing for you to grab a piece of paper, sit down, and start filling out 5, 6, 7 ideas and presenting them to her and be like, "Hey, listen, I know you've been stressing out about money. We've been stressing out about how to handle A, B, and C. Hey, look, these are my ideas. And this is what I'm willing to do. This is what I want to do to help fix it." Like I said, I had a friend, man. They were going through some money issues. They were stressing. They were going through some money issues. And they had opened up a business and they had done a couple of things. And like I said, they were just coming up short. And I told them, I was like, "Yo, you know what, man? You work 8 hours? All right, check this out. This is what you're going to do. Have you thought about doing A, B, and C? Ride share this, that, da, 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 da." "Oh, I haven't really thought." "Okay, these are the 4 ideas to make money outside of your house. They're going to require a lot of effort from you. Present that to her. Take that to her. And tell her, look, this is what I'm willing to do. This is the extra mile I'm willing to go to for us." Yo, the next day he calls me back. He's like, "Yo, I presented it to her. You know what she said? She said, 'No, we'll figure this out. I want you home. I don't want it to sacrifice our quality time with our family.'" He underestimated her. He thought that it was about him actually going out and busting his ass and breaking his back. And it's simply not true. No, she just wants to know that you're thinking about it as much as she is and that you guys can come up with an idea together, right? That she's not in it alone. She's not in this fight by herself. When you're soft, she's in the fight by herself. When you're sensitive, you understand the assignment. You got to actively participate in your relationship. Actively participate. Be an active participant. You know what I mean? Don't wait for answers. Don't wait for solutions. Create solutions. Create options. Create avenues. You'll be surprised at how much the actual effort makes her happy. The effort. The attempt. That's what really makes her happy. I always say one of the things, well, you know what? We're going to take a break real quick. I want to jump into a quick commercial for one of my favorite what do you call it, from one of my favorite sponsors for Queen Meets the Candles.
Patty cake, I'm the baker's man. I bake them cakes as fast as I can. And you.
In this life, some people are in a rush to reach their destination, while others prefer to enjoy the ride. Some drink to get drunk, and some savor the taste of fine wine or of a good meal. If you're in the latter, sit back and delight in the unique journey with Queen Meats International. Her scented, unique infusion methods are designed to take the proverbial edge out of life. Queen Meats' number one goal is to guide you down a more sophisticated and gentle cannabis experience. Perfect for meditation, yoga, or turning down the stress of daily life. Backed by hours of research, our candles are made from a unique blend of imported oils and a wick that burns slower and cleaner to get the most out of your investment. If you're someone who enjoys the finer things in life, we would love to be your introduction to the high life. You can find us on Instagram at Queen Meats International and place your order, or you can email us at thequeenmeats@gmail.com. I'll list the link below.
Patty cake, I'm the baker's man. I bake them cakes as fast as I can. And you.
All right, we're back for the second half. So check this out. Sometimes you go far down a rabbit hole, right? And I want to make one thing clear. When I say sensitive, not soft, I do not mean a pussy. I need you to argue. I need you to stand your ground. I need you that when you're pressed on a position, have a position. A good relationship, you challenge each other. Not all the times, and not everything has to be an argument. You don't challenge each other all the time. But what you do is you make your position felt. And one of the beauties of this type of situation is understanding when to take a back seat and when to push. It's a delicate balance. What will happen is you're going to present an idea. And if she's not accustomed to you coming to her with ideas, what is she going to do? She's going to challenge you. She's challenging you not because you're stupid. She's challenging you because she wants to know that you know what you're talking about and that you are not going to leave her hanging, or that your situation is not going to F up the flow of the family. I'll never forget, I had a friend one time, right? He goes to his lady. He goes, "Hey, I'm going to quit my job, man, and I'm going to start for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to start a sock knitting company." Let me tell you something. As soon as he said quit my job, she stopped listening. She literally stopped listening. Be mindful how you present ideas. Because if you don't present them and provide the safety and security that she needs and feels she wants, she's going to stop listening to you. She's going to stop paying attention. When you talk to her, make sure that you coat these ideas with her in mind and understand the delivery is almost as important as the idea. If you lead with, "I'm going to quit my job," with anything, and I'm going to do this, right away she's thinking, where are we going to eat? Where are the kids going to sleep? How are we going to take care of these bills? I can't do this by myself. Oh my God, it's disaster starts to happen. Why don't you backtrack? And when you present this idea, "Hey, babe, listen, I'm thinking about going this route with this company. with this situation. These are the things that I'm going to do to lead up to it, to smooth our transition. In the evenings, I'm going to do DoorDash or whatever, and I'm going to sell this on the side so that we don't skip a beat. But this is where my primary energy is going to be going for the next couple of weeks, months, maybe even years. Now, what do you think? Oh, yeah, okay. Because you know what she heard? She heard, you love me enough. She heard, you love me enough that you are coding your idea with love. You know what I'm saying? You're coding it with my understanding that we're going to be okay, that we're going to be good. And that I need more than anything. Way before your dreams and your whatever, I need to know that our family is going to be good and we're going to be okay. If you can do that, you can present any idea and she'll be your teammate. She'll be your partner. She'll rock with you. A lot of times, man, you'll see a guy thinks that a business plan is enough. And he's like, yeah. I'm gonna be the biggest sock producer on the East Coast, and whatever. And he presents the business idea and the projections of how much money in the charts, and he shows her all that. That's good if you're going to a bank and you're trying to get a loan. If you're trying to get business investors and partners, right? That's not how you approach your life partner, the person that's living this existence with you, when it comes to an idea like that. When you come to your partner, you have to code it in such a way that it's digestible and it understands, because she's thinking about our family, the here and the now. How am I going to take care of them today? Will we have money for tomorrow? Will they be able to? Is this electricity going to? Is our way of life? Is their way of life going to suffer? It's really easy. Oh, when you're chasing a dream, everybody's got a whatever. Yeah, no, I get that. And I'm positive that a good person, a good partner, right? A loving partner understands that as well. But it's in your delivery. I'll never forget, I saw an episode and it taught me a life lesson, man. I loved it. I saw an episode of The Cosby Show. And in that episode, Vanessa brings home a boyfriend. She doesn't tell the family. Right? He's a lot older than her. She shows up to dinner with him and she skips the boyfriend phase and like, we're engaged. The family's like, what? And they kind of give him the cold shoulder. They kind of give him the cold rub. And she's not understanding why they can't stand him or why they're mad at him and why are they treating him like this. This is not my family. What's wrong with you guys? Finally, the head of the family, father, Cliff, pulls him to the side and goes, hey, listen. I don't want you to think that we're assholes, because we're not. What I want to do is I want you to understand where we're coming from. And I'm going to connect this to the business ideas and the ideas about the family. He says to the guy, he goes, what's your favorite meal? And he says, my favorite meal is a good steak. I love a good steak. He goes, you like mashed potatoes? Yeah. You like some greens? Yeah, I like some greens. All right, cool. So I'm going to serve you your favorite meal. What if I went over to a garbage can lid that was in the garbage with the flies and everything, flipped it over, put the food on the garbage can lid, and told you to eat it? Would you eat it? No. So why? Because of it's disgusting. It's on the garbage can. Yes, it's in the presentation. So many of us men present ideas and feel disrespected when our ladies or the people in our lives don't jump at the idea and don't love the idea or aren't overly excited about the idea. And we don't understand why. A lot of times it's because of your presentation was shitty. You literally presented a beautiful meal on the top of a garbage can lid. Your presentation has to make her feel safe and secure. It has to let her know, I've thought this out. I've thought of the impact it's going to have on our family. And I want you to know that these are the sacrifices that I'm willing to make to prevent that. If you can do that, I promise you, the idea will be much better received and your ego won't be bruised. Because that's what you're fixing for. You're fixing for your ego to get destroyed if you do not present the idea in a real tasteful, beautiful way. And that's where a lot of problems start. Again, it all goes back. It's so crazy how it all goes back to being sensitive to how your ideas, sensitive to how your actions, sensitive to how your words, sensitive to how your decisions affect the people around you. That is being sensitive. Soft is, she doesn't believe in me. She thinks I'm stupid. You know what, man? I don't want to be. She hates me. She thinks I'm an idiot. She doesn't believe in me. Da 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 da. Woe is me. Woe is me. That's soft. See the difference? Sensitive and soft. How do you react in a moment of crisis? I never told him that I wanted anything from him, just his love. Well, I mean, if you never told him you wanted anything from him, just his love, then that's all you're going to get. Set boundaries, set standards. Let him know that, you know what, be clear on what you need. I think that's one of the main problems. Men are like water. We take the path of least resistance. And we claim we want a woman to just love us. And that's all. We say that because we're trying to get you to lower your standard. We say that because we wanted you to lower your standard. We wanted to drop so that you don't ask much of us. And if you don't ask much of us, we don't have to do much. We can kind of just take a back seat and coast. You ever met a woman, man? She's with a guy, and she's like, you know, he's a good dude, whatever. And he's sitting on the couch playing video games and doesn't work. And she's tolerating that. That's not love. No, that's not love. Because if he loved you, he would do what it takes to make you happy. He would do what it takes to lead his family forward or a situation forward. That's not love. Love reciprocates. It gives you the energy you put into it. And if he's not giving you that energy back, then he doesn't love you. Demand more. Demand more. The only man that complains about the standard is the man that cannot meet the standard. I've been that guy. I've been the guy that couldn't meet the standard. I've been that guy. It sucks. You know what I mean? But at that point, you have two choices. Settle on the fact that you can't meet the standard or get right. Get right. I'll never forget, man, one of the most beautiful love stories I ever heard, right, was so dope. I had a friend, they were friends, and this guy, he approached this girl. And when he approached her, he didn't have his act together, man. He didn't have his act together. He was really, still living like a boy. And I don't want his empathy. I didn't want nothing else, just the part of the heart. I'm Danny Cancer. I don't want his empathy. No, you shouldn't want his empathy. But you should want his all. Especially now. Trust me, when a man loves you, there's no question. He's going to give you it all. I never get to see him. I need more information, but if you're interested in talking, I'm getting questions from YouTube. If you want to chat, man, check me out on Mr. _Dropping_Dimes, MR_DROPNDIMES, and you could DM me. And if you have a good question, if you want to talk, I could definitely go over some things with you as far as your situation. I'm referring to a question that I'm getting on my in my studio, but back to it. Yeah, Set your standards. Set your standards as far as what you want. Yes, I want to be loved, but you deserve so much more than just love. Love is never enough, man. I'm sorry. Not in an adult relationship. Love is never enough. Love will leave you feeling empty if that's all they're giving. It's the equivalent of me like, I'm just gonna give you dick. That a lot of times women be like, that's not enough. I can't feed my kids with dick. I can't do that. Well, guess what? You can't feed them with just love either. You know what I'm saying? You need more. Love is never enough. You know what I mean? There's so much to it, man. Whether it's respect, loyalty, honesty, effort, reciprocity. There's so many aspects to what go into a healthy, good relationship. Don't fall for that okie doke stuff. Don't settle for the bare minimum that somebody's willing to give to you, because when you're settling for the bare minimum, I always say the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you a reflection of who you are. So if you're accepting the bare minimum, it's because you're broken. It's like looking into a mirror. If the mirror is broken, what do you get? The reflection. You get a reflection of broken pieces. That's who you are when you're selling for broken people. So you literally, if you're selling for that, you have to look in the mirror and be like, who am I? There's something in me I need to fix. I need to get right. Because when you do, you reject that type of energy. When you're whole, you reject people that are not in that energy space. You reject, your body does it automatically. Don't come to me with that bullshit. The energy will speak to you before any words come out of their mouth. And you don't settle. Men, our job as men, as boys, our job as boys is to get you to settle. To get you to take what we give you and be happy. A man understands it requires so much more, and he's willing to give it to you. I always talk about obstacles and hurdles. It's the craziest thing, man. I always talk about obstacles and hurdles. Obstacles are things that come out naturally, like insecurity, jealousy, things that block your own blessings. Things that happen in your life that you block your own blessings. Hurdles are things that every woman should put up, right? Because you will learn a lot. Well, it just don't happen to him. I lost. I've been so long without him. I was being called a dumb idiot. Well, if you were being called a dumb idiot, then that's not love either. Again, if you want more information, just find my Instagram, DM me, or we could talk through YouTube, because I think that your issues are a little deeper, maybe a little more nuanced than what we're talking about on this level. And maybe you just need a little more, somebody to vent to, maybe somebody to get some information out of. All right. So that goes out to Anna Marie. But back to it. Yeah, man, there's so much more to it. Obstacles and hurdles. I always say put up a hurdle. Not a boy walks up to a hurdle, and I'll give you an example of what they are. He looks at it and says, you're not worth the effort of me getting over this hurdle. It's too late for me to become a nun. To become none of your business. Yeah, obstacles and hurdles, right? So you put the hurdle up, and a boy walks up to it. He looks at you and says, I don't see the value in you. I don't think that you're worth me jumping this hurdle. Basically, I don't see the value in you. It's not worth it to me. A man walks up to that same hurdle, looks at you and says, you're worth the effort. You're worth it. I'm going to attempt to climb this hurdle. So I'll give you a loose example. I've used this example a bunch of times. I had a friend that was dating a young guy, a man, and he was a man of average means. He worked hard, real blue collar guy, worked hard. She walks up to him and goes, hey, I want to go to this restaurant. It comes out to about $200 or $300 a person. It's expensive. And, I really want to go to this restaurant. A boy goes behind the scenes, looks at the menu and goes, $200, you're not worth that shit. Hell no. Oh, you're bougie. You're this. You're that. You're bougie. You're bougie. You're bougie. To convince you that you're not worth it. What he's telling you is, I don't see the value in you to spend $200 on you. You're not worth $200 to me. You know what a man does? A man walks up to that same hurdle and goes, all right, you know what, bro, there's no river I won't cross. There's no mountain I won't climb. Hey, look, I can't take you this week. Do you mind if we go like in 2 weeks? And that's when I tell women, stop him right there. It's not about actually jumping the hurdle. It's about the intent. It's about the fact that, you saw the value in me. You think I'm worth it to be treated like that? That means you love me. That means you're a man. And if you're a man, I could deal with you. If you're a boy, don't deal with him. Walk away. You love God. Yeah, it's beautiful. Definitely put your faith in God. Man will disappoint you where God will never. But yeah. So that's how it goes. I got some notes here. Your heart. Yeah, man. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care where your muscles are at. I don't care how tough you are in the streets. I don't care what kind of reputation you have outside your house. There's only one thing that really determines the man that you are in your wife's eyes, your girlfriend's eyes. It's the size of your heart. The size of your heart, man. How much, the lengths that you're willing to go to, how hard you're willing to work. You know what I'm saying? And how much you're willing to push yourself. That's masculinity. That's being sensitive, not soft. So you'll be surprised how the type of energy you can inject into your family. But here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this moment to thank everybody for your comments, for showing up. And you could definitely hear me out, the whole thing, on Spotify, Amazon, iHeart. I want to say, Mark Twain says the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hopeful Romantic M.A.N. podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Dropping Dimes, a.k.a. the Hopeful Romantic, a.k.a. the feminist with chauvinist tendencies. And I want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart from helping me walk in my why.
I know I'm fine, but the money makes me handsomer. Walk around smelling like a come up in the answer for her problems, but I'm not him, I don't mind it though. You don't like me how you think you do, I like it though. I know I'm fine,